Okay, so let's start with a scenario. Forget just asking an AI to summarize a history book.
Right.
Imagine asking it to do this. Analyze the conflicting narratives of, say, 10 different historians on the causes of the American Civil War, and then synthesize their points into 3 distinct philosophical arguments.
And 5 seconds later, you've got it.
You have the deep structure for a perfect graduate-level paper. 5 seconds.
Welcome to the new reality.
Exactly. Welcome to the new reality of learning. This is an era where your capacity for knowledge isn't really limited by what you can memorize anymore. It's fundamentally about the quality of the questions you can ask. And the big question for us today, based on the sources you brought in, is whether this massive transformation we're seeing is a kind of calm, necessary evolution, or if it's forcing a really disruptive, maybe uncomfortable revolution on us.
So let's unpack that.
Yeah, that's really the core mission of this whole deep dive. We need to move beyond the panic, the simple headlines.
Right. And we need to really analyze this transformation of human learning, distinguish between the superficial, just copy and paste use of AI.
And the critical strategic use.
Exactly. The goal here is to offer you a framework, some practical strategies for learning with AI. And not just, from it.
Which is a crucial distinction.
It is. And it means we have to address the cognitive challenges that come up when we start delegating parts of our thinking to machines.
So specifically, we're focusing on 3 major areas from the research. First, we need to detail how AI directly impacts our core cognitive skills, memory, attention.
Creativity even.
Creativity, absolutely. Second, we'll look at what the documented research tells us about actual academic and professional performance.
Hard data.
The hard data.
Yeah.
And finally, we want to provide some strategies that inspire people to stop seeing AI as just a mental crutch and start seeing it as a real strategic cognitive ally.
Yeah, that's the key.
So let's begin with the fear. I think it's a fear we all share to some extent. If AI can instantly write an essay or solve a complex business problem, does that mean we stop flexing our own mental muscles? Are we actually learning less than we did 5 years ago?
Well, it's a great question. And the science of cognition, the actual neurobiology, it suggests the answer is incredibly nuanced.
It's not a simple yes or no.
Not at all. There's absolutely a trade-off. Look, constant access to answers, it can reduce our reliance on what's called working memory.
That mental scratch pad.
Exactly, that scratch pad. But, and this is the important part, if you use it strategically, your capacity for integrated knowledge can just shoot up.
So we're trading one muscle for another, the muscle of rote memorization for what? The muscle of analytical synthesis?
That's a great way to put it. We trade the effort of retrieval for the effort of making high-level connections.
Okay, that sounds good in theory, but where is the line? I mean, where's the line between helpful delegation and, destructive dependence?
That is precisely what the research published in Nature Human Behaviour tried to define. They basically identified 2 divergent paths.
Okay.
Path A. You use AI to just avoid effort. That results in what the researchers called cognitive softening.
Softening, so your brain just gets lazy.
It's a literal reduction in the neural effort related to deep processing and retrieval. But path B, that's the one we're interested in.
Right.
That's the strategic application that moves your thinking into what they termed turbo mode.
Turbo mode, I like that. So it's not about getting answers, it's about creating what you called cognitive resistance.
Yes, exactly. And that brings us to that Stanford study you mentioned.
Let's talk about that, because the debate companion idea is maybe the most compelling piece of evidence for the positive side of this. We heard the number, a 37% improvement. But how did it actually work? What was the mechanism?
Well, it wasn't just checking facts, which is what we usually do with a search engine, right? This AI model was specifically trained to perform deep structural criticism. So a student writes an argument, maybe on renewable energy policy.
Okay.
The AI would then analyze the logic, find the unstated assumptions, and generate the single most persuasive, strongest possible counterargument it could construct.
Wow. So it wasn't a helper, it was an adversary.
A perfect, tireless adversary. The students were forced to rigorously defend their positions, not just against a human who might get tired or, distracted.
Against a machine that could pull the most effective counterpoints from millions of documents instantly.
Instantly. The human effort shifted entirely from researching facts to defending the analysis.
And integrating the rebuttal.
That integration is the turbo mode.
That completely flips the script. It's not passive reception of information, it's active engagement. It's like having an infinitely patient sparring partner in your corner 24/7.
That's it. We're outsourcing the grunt work of information synthesis so that our finite human cognitive energy can focus on the harder parts.
Challenging assumptions, synthesizing sources, deep evaluation.
All the good stuff.
Okay, so building on that cognitive change, let's shift focus. Let's go from the brain's internal function to the roles in the learning process itself. For centuries, the educator was the keeper of the content.
Right.
But
This source of truth.
today, that content is just in your pocket. This has to redefine the roles for both the educator and for the learner.
It's a profound transformation. The teacher's role is no longer to be the one who tells you the date of the Treaty of Versailles.
Or the laws of thermodynamics.
Exactly. They are now the one who has to craft the environment for cognitive challenge. Their value isn't in content delivery. The AI is frankly better at that, 247.
So their value is in task design.
Task design. Crafting questions and projects so complex, so nuanced, that they demand human analysis after the AI has provided the initial summaries. They have to be the one who asks the powerful questions.
Can you give us a concrete example? What's a powerful question that an AI can't just answer for you?
Okay. The AI can tell you everything about the American Civil War.
Yeah.
A powerful question would be something like, analyze the moral complexity of the American Civil War using only the ethical frameworks of both Machiavelli and Mahatma Gandhi.
Oh, wow.
Where do their approaches converge and where do they violently clash? The AI provides the texts, the frameworks, but only the human mind can really perform that comparative judgment and structure that argument.
That immediately gets around the fear of students just copying and pasting. You can't copy that.
You can't.
But here's the friction. Is this realistic? Can we implement this quickly in school systems that are already totally overwhelmed? Doesn't this require a complete overhaul of teacher training that just doesn't exist yet?
That is the right question to be asking. The theory is sound, but the implementation, that's the revolution we are living through right now.
It's happening in real
We
time.
need new pedagogical models that focus on prompt engineering and critical source vetting, not just subject matter. It requires a systemic commitment.
And that transformation applies just as much to the learner. I mean, you, the listener, you're no longer just a passive bucket for information.
Not at all.
You become an architect of your own knowledge, a curator, and maybe most importantly, a detective of AI errors.
That detective work is the new baseline skill. We all know AI makes mistakes.
Hallucinations, as they call them.
Right, hallucinations. And it delivers them with such supreme confidence. The learner's job is to recognize when the facts feel a little too neat or the citations are a bit too convenient, and then to vet that information.
So give us a practical example of that active learning.
Okay, here's one you can do today. Ask an AI to explain the theory of relativity. You'll get a dry, optimized text.
Right.
Then immediately ask it to explain the theory of relativity as if it were Einstein in a 1930 interview.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
The comparison you're forced to make between those two outputs, the framing, the tone, the emphasis, the likely biases, that is the active learning process.
The human effort is no longer in finding the data, but in interpreting the context and verifying its reliability. That's the shift.
That is the necessary shift.
But let's be realists for a moment. The sources you provided are very clear that this transition isn't all positive.
Far from it.
And just telling people to use it strategically isn't enough. We have to be vigilant about the real documented cognitive risks.
Absolutely. And the research points to three major ones we have to address head on. The first is what they call the illusion of competence.
The illusion of competence, what does that mean?
It's insidious. It happens when an AI explains something complex, like quantum computing, with such elegant clarity that you believe you understand it.
Right.
Because you didn't struggle with it, you didn't process it yourself, you lack the core mental scaffolding.
So you mistake the AI's perfect explanation for your own understanding, and then you fail when you have to actually apply it.
Exactly. Think of a junior programmer who uses AI to write a complex piece of code. It's clean, it's perfect, they feel competent.
Until it breaks.
The moment it breaks, or they need to tweak a single parameter, they lack the foundational skills because they outsourced that deep cognitive work.
Okay, that makes sense. What's the second big risk?
The second is algorithmic bias. An AI is trained on historical data, so it reinforces what it already knows, what the majority of its data set suggests.
So it's biased towards the status quo.
Precisely. If you're a market strategist, for example, The AI will reinforce existing, comfortable market trends. It might blind you to disruptive innovations or novel consumer behaviors that fall outside the biases of its training data.
And if you don't challenge it, you're just stuck in a cognitive bubble.
A very sophisticated one, but a bubble nonetheless.
And then there's the elephant in the room, the one with hard numbers attached to it.
Yeah.
Straight up cognitive dependence.
Right.
Our sources cite that striking data from the University of Cambridge, the study's slated for publication next year.
Yes, those findings are sobering.
They show that passive, routine use of AI. So, using it as a substitute for mental effort reduces the long-term capacity for people to solve novel problems without help by 22%.
22%.
That's a massive penalty.
And that number isn't just an academic figure. Think about what that looks like in the real world.
Reduced resilience.
Reduced resilience when faced with something unprecedented. It's the difference between encountering a totally new situation, a supply chain failure, a complex negotiation, and instinctively knowing how to frame the problem yourself.
Versus immediately reaching for a tool to structure your thinking for you.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is that the solution all the research converges on isn't prohibiting AI. That's a Luddite approach. It's doomed to fail.
Right.
Instead, it's about teaching everyone, students, employees, all of us, to use it with what the source material calls intelligent skepticism.
Intelligent skepticism, I like that phrase. So approaching every AI output not as gospel, but as a hypothesis, a first draft that requires human verification.
A starting point. You have to contextualize it, especially checking for bias and factual accuracy.
That ties everything together so neatly. So what does this all mean for us right now? The core takeaway seems clear. AI doesn't replace learning. It just fundamentally redefines what the work of learning actually is.
That's it. The real intellectual challenge today isn't memorizing more facts or definition. The challenge is thinking better. It's formulating powerful, specific, challenging questions. It's evaluating the sources you get back. And ultimately, it's constructing original ideas that the AI can't generate because they require subjective human judgment.
So the future doesn't belong to the AI experts. It belongs to the AI users who view the tool as a cognitive coach.
A coach that drills your mental muscles.
Instead of just accepting it as a mental calculator that gives you the answer with no effort.
Exactly. And we can anchor this with that quote from Daniel Dennett. He said, "Intelligence is not knowing everything, but knowing how to find it out and how to know if it's reliable."
And today, that definition absolutely includes knowing how to critically interact with an AI.
It has to.
That's a powerful capstone for this deep dive. Now, as we wrap up, we always like to leave you with a challenge, something actionable you can apply immediately.
Test your own intelligent skepticism.
Exactly. So here is your challenge of the day. Use an AI to learn a genuinely complex new concept this week. But here's the twist. After the AI explains it, write down 5 open-ended, human-centric questions about that concept that you cannot answer using the AI alone.
Find the gaps.
If you can identify the gaps in the AI's knowledge, the ethical, the subjective, the structural limitations, you've mastered the human skill of intelligent skepticism.
And finally, a provocative thought to leave you with. AI can analyze poetry. It can write a scholarly paper on human grief. It can synthesize every psychological model of emotion.
Whoa.
But it still doesn't understand why you cried watching Titanic.
Yeah.
That territory, the unpredictable, subjective, emotional experience, and the wonderful imperfection of learning to be human, that remains exclusively ours.
That is the irreplaceable value of human cognition in the age of the machine. A fantastic note to end on.
I think so.
Go use your AI, but use your brain first. Thanks for joining us for the deep dive.